15 minutes on the internet. My name is Judson Powell. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the share button. Please hit buttons. All right. Anyway, I'm continuing my crusade for voting. And I have to, and here's the thing. So I asked a friend of mine, and I said, because he's on the kick that voting doesn't count, it doesn't matter, and black people shouldn't vote, and, it doesn't matter who's this or who's that. But then, so I was trying to explain to him that voting is only one part of the power source. All right, so political power and economic power do go hand in hand. And yes, we have tremendous amount of economic power, but it doesn't work. Okay, and I'm going to show you just what I'm talking about. So, for example, here in Arizona, we have pretty much the most sunlight of any state in the union. Nobody, I think I read somewhere, maybe Colorado might be the only other state that has as much sunlight as we do. All right. But here in the state of Arizona, because of voting and because of who voted for who and all of that, the conservatives have limited the amount of money that they will give you to install solar, and they don't have net metering. Net metering means that if I create too much power and I send it back to the grid, then they'll pay me for it. Okay? But they won't pay you to produce energy in the state of Arizona. All right? And furthermore, they have enacted very high taxes on buying the preliminary equipment, and also they tax you for using solar. So what happens with it? It means that it's not cost effective, or it's not as cost effective, and it takes many years for you to recoup your initial investment. All right. So even though they could put solar panels on everything and this entire grid could be run by solar like overnight. And here's the funny thing, all the big government agencies, all the big colleges and universities and everything, they all have big solar fields. All right. And they're not paying for energy or anything like that. But you can't do the same thing. The same thing, another example of how voting affects your economics is so even though solar could be very very lucrative to people in Arizona, they can't use it because of the way conservatives voted when they came up with these laws. All right, which is directly related to what? To voting. All right, if there would have been liberals, or maybe even not liberals, but other people that could control. The same thing is true with smoking marijuana. A lot of y'all are happy because, a lot of states are legalizing marijuana, or at least legalized it for medicinal purposes or whatever. But guess what? There are a whole bunch of states that still have not done it. And as a matter of fact, the federal government has not legalized it. And as a matter of fact, you could still be held under federal law. Even in a state where it's legal, you could be held under federal law. All right. Because of what? Because of the way people have voted. All right. Same thing is true. The tax cut. I guarantee you, if Hillary Clinton would have won the presidency instead of Donald Trump, we would not have had a 30% tax cut for rich people, for rich business owners. And not to mention, where does that money come from? It comes from poor and middle class people, because it doesn't cost any less to run the government. It's just they're taking the money from someplace else. So that's why now all of a sudden we start seeing cuts in what they call entitlement programs. And some of them aren't even entitlements. Some of them we paid into, like Social Security. Social Security is not an entitlement. We paid for it. They take it out your check. Every time you get a paycheck, they take Social Security out of your check. So how is that an entitlement? But like I said, once again, the rhetoric being put forth by politicians is that it's an entitlement. The same thing, and then we, now some things are entitlements like welfare, maybe food stamps, stuff like that. Those are entitlement programs, but they're proposing cutting all of those too. And they quietly have cut funding for schools and stuff like that. So don't think that that voting doesn't consume everything, including economics. So yeah, we could say, yeah, as black people, we have a $500 million. We got a $500 billion in spending power. But if they don't allow us to use it, and the same thing, let's look at some other examples of how voting has impacted economic power. Okay, so for example, if I build a car, but they won't allow me to export the cars, all right, how much money am I going to make off those cars? Ask people like the people who make washers and dryers who Trump put a tariff on, and also the farmers. The farmers are losing millions of dollars because what? Because they can't export and import goods like they used to. Why? Because of the president. The same thing is true. How many Trump has nominated? I can't remember the number. I think it was 93. Has nominated 93 federal judges. All right, and if he gets reelected, he'll be able to nominate probably another 2 Supreme Court justices, which would mean that the Supreme Court. So when you're trying to get something taken in front of the Supreme Court, guess what's going to happen? They're going to decide it in a conservative method. So your vote is very important, whether you realize it or not, and whether you think it's doing something or not. Man, I keep telling people apathy is not a strategy. And the other thing that I always say, which is a slogan that also goes around, is what? Is that elections have consequences. So just like, and I try to tell black people, look, it is the direct effect of black people voting or not voting has been felt even with the last election. Trump would not be president if black people had voted. It had voted for Hillary. He would not be president. The only reason why Trump is president is because black people did not vote. The other thing is, I can't remember the guy's name who was dancing to Juveniles, Back That Thing Up or whatever. Why do you think a white man, a rich white man will be up on a stage dancing to Back That Thing Up? Or why do you think Bernie Sanders wants Public Enemy, at his rally? Or why do you think Bernie Sanders is standing there eating fried chicken? Or why do you think they kiss black babies and hug on old black women and all that kind of stuff? You know why they do that? Because they need your vote. Not only do they want your vote, but they actually need your vote. Bill Clinton, look, we found that out. Bill Clinton and I'm going to bring back up Jesse Jackson, and they try to, don't try to hit me up about what Jesse did, or don't try to hit me up about what Obama did or didn't do. But the clear thing is that their strategies work. Their strategy worked. Just like Bill Clinton was on Arsenio Hall doing what? Playing the saxophone for your votes. And y'all, back before this Donald Trump thing came about, y'all was calling him the first black president. Before Obama got there, everybody was like, oh, Bill Clinton's the first black president because he played the saxophone on Arsenio Hall. But what does that tell you? We're talking about, that's way back in the 90s. Way back, we're talking about stuff that happened way back in the 80s. What Jesse Jackson's campaign in the 80s taught us was that any district where black people registered and voted, we won that district. Whoever our favorite candidate was in that district, they won that district. We never, and one thing, and I actually had this conversation with Brother Jackson, and I'm telling you, he said we never lost any single fight that we ever fought when it came down to voting. Never. So you got to understand that this is that if we use strategy and we work, and the other thing is, just like with Obama, and I keep trying to tell everybody, well, Obama didn't do nothing for black people, because black people didn't ask Obama to do nothing. No, where is the strategy? You know, I know Dr. Claude Anderson said that he presented this thing to Obama, right? Okay, but where was the groundswell of support for whatever was presented to him? There was nobody never got upset with Obama. During the whole 8 years that Obama was in office, everybody was partying back, having a good time. He was on Tom Joyner's show every morning, you know, blah, 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 blah. Nobody never asked him to do nothing. Think about it. Nobody asked him to do nothing for black people. We was just, look, and I'm going to tell it like this. We was just happy that he was there. Come on, be honest. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. You were just happy that he was there. You never asked Obama, and even when he was running and he was campaigning, he never promised black people nothing. The whole time, all he walked around and said was change. But did he ever say, oh, but when I get in there, I'm going to do this for black people, or I'm going to do that for black people, or I'm going to, you know, when I get in there, this is the agenda. This is what we're going to do about reparations, or this is what we're going to do, you know, about education, or this is what we're going to do about healthcare. The only thing that he did something for healthcare, and he did that but he did that for all Americans. Come on. He never promised us anything, and we never asked him for anything. Never. And I you know, and even if Dr. Claude Anderson, even if all these things, these agendas that he presented to Obama, or whoever else said that they presented an agenda to Obama, they never presented it to the majority of the people, and the majority of the people never got behind it and tried to force his hand. Who forced his hand? Whoever forced Obama's hand? And now, you know, 4 years after he's out of there, now everybody is mad. Well, we voted for him because we thought he was going to do it. But he never told you he was going to do something. We voted for him because we thought he was going to change the world. Come on, y'all, be for real. And the other thing is, y'all got to look, he was in a very, and that's the other thing, you got to look, he's in a very precarious position. He's the first quote unquote black president, but he's still not a descendant of slaves. And everybody kept trying to tell y'all that. It's like, look, he is a descendant of Kenyans. He ain't a descendant of anybody that came from West Africa. I mean, come on. Please believe and understand. To go back and you can look at every speech he ever made, anything he ever said or whatever, but he never, ever once, when he was running for president. Look, in fact, Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden are saying more stuff about black people than Obama ever said. And y'all still mad at them. That's the other thing. Y'all are mad at them and Trump. Trump is saying stuff about black people because they know they need the votes. Obama just got the votes because he was black. And people looked at him and said, oh, people just loved the man, and he was a rock star. And people voted for him, just like Clinton. People voted for Clinton for the same reason. Clinton ain't never said he was going to do nothing for black people. He got on there, got on Arsenio, played the saxophone, and y'all voted for him. But y'all never put forth an agenda. And that's what I'm saying. We are apathetic, disinterested, and have no agenda. But we want to blame everything and say, oh, I ain't voting. It don't matter. It don't matter because you're not playing the game. And the other people in this country are playing the game at a very high level. And not to mention what I was trying to explain to y'all when I did the video yesterday, I was trying to explain to y'all, this whole system is a Al-Kebulon system. The whole system, Kush, Kemet, Ethiopia, all of these things, democracy, corporate governance, all of that stuff, it came from Al-Kebulon. It did not come from no white man. So they took the system and used it for themselves. And now we sit up here and say, oh, well, we need a new system. We invented the system. So how come we can't take it back and use it to our advantage? That's what I'm trying to get at. Take back the system and use it to your advantage, but you got to participate. You can't sit on the sideline and complain. All we do is whine and complain. You know, everybody got a problem. We talk about everybody. But guess what? Either Biden Sanders or Trump, at this point, it looks like, is going to be president. So you got to go through a lesser of two evils. And if you don't vote, then you can't complain. Just sit there and whatever you get, that's what you get. Fastest 15 minutes is up.